Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon tune. I'm your host, Josh, and today is my special guest host. Hey, I got
Hey,
Dusk.
how you doing?
Hey, how's it going there, Dusk? Dusk being the good guy he always is. Thank you for joining me on the show, and thank you for helping me review these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Very awesome. We got some good stuff to review. We got Materialists and How to Train Your Dragon. And I didn't get a chance to see How to Train Your Dragon. I was guesting on another show, the Movie Night Extravaganza. They were doing a review for Goodfellas.
Nice.
So I joined that. We were just talking about that and then the history of Scorsese there.
Oh yeah.
So I was not able to do that. But did you see How to Train Your Dragon?
Unfortunately.
Oh, well, it's a sneak peek into Dust's review there of How to Train Your Dragon. Did you also see Materialists?
Yes, I did see that. That's
Okay.
the Celine movie, right?
Yes, Celine song. Yeah, Celine Dion song.
Yeah.
Yes, it is her movie. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that. So I'll let Dust do his review first for How to Train Your Dragon, and then we'll do Materialists.
All right, let me get my notes.
And then no news really. I don't think any trailers or anything like that was out. So there's no news or anything. But we covered that last week. So yeah. Future streams, maybe Saturday. I'm going to be doing a stream there, do a retro review for How to Train Your Dragon, the 2010 film there, the animated film. And then possibly Sunday, well, definitely Sunday, I'll be doing a retro review for Tangerine for Pride Month, doing a review for that. Christina from Movie Night Extravaganza is going to be joining me for that. Monday, I'm going to be reviewing Andor Season 2. If I can finish all of Andor Season 2 by Monday, I hope I can. And then also you have Sage and his co-host Ulysses from Rated M for Immaturity, who are going to be doing their review for Doom Dark Ages. Are you? I think you said you were playing Doom Dark Ages, right? Dust, I think you said you were doing that, right?
I'm sorry, what?
I think you said you were playing Doom Dark Ages, right?
I was thinking on getting it. I've watched some footage of it though. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I heard them say that it's
the best
not
I've
as
heard
good.
it is Doom the Mid Ages.
Yeah, the mid ages. Oh, okay. I heard it's not as good as the last previous Doom game.
So they removed a lot of mechanics, started completely over, which makes sense because the Dark Ages is supposed to be a prequel before even Doom 2016. It is way before any of that. So they took the opportunity to basically make a completely different game. If Doom 2016 was run and gun, more of an old school arena shooter, and Doom Eternal had a bunch of mechanics added and was a jump and shoot and fly around and chain combo and move to weapon. This one is a parrying system with the shield and about 8 or 9 weapons, but I say 8 or 9 because they double up on each weapon. So instead of making that weapon more unique, they have 2 versions of the same weapon, but they're 2 separate upgrades. So instead of what they did in 2016 or Doom Eternal, where you upgrade one weapon and you can kind of cherry pick where you want those upgrades to go, they just decided to give you 2 weapons, but some of them aren't distinct enough to really justify it, and you just kind of just switch with the one that you go with best, and it felt like not only with the story and with the because the story and cutscenes look really good, but the combat flow just didn't really click for a lot of people. Some people really like the game because it is with the shield parry system, and it is a very simpler game, but because it has such big levels and the repetition of the parry and block and parry and fire mechanic gets kind of tiresome because there's no really added mechanic on top of that. With 2016, you were running and gunning and shooting and switching between weapons and using glory kills to get more ammo, and that was also carried over to 2016. But they added even more mechanics, and you were jumping and using your grapple hook and moving over. But with the new one, they kind of lessened mechanics. They removed mostly glory kills, and there's a bunch of stuff to it. It's not a bad game by any means. It's just it's interesting. This is the second time a third Doom game is mixed and
Mm,
controversial.
damn. Mm. It's always hard to close out the franchise with a
It,
third
it,
movie.
it is, especially when this one's a prequel. Like that's a lot of people's main complaint is one of the biggest is they remove glory kills. Uh, Ironically, because they said, "Oh, we didn't want it. We felt the glory kills were repetition. For it was two going over the same over again. It's like you guys had over 70 different interactions. Actually, more depending on the angle and the area. Yes, some things repeated, but like it always was like a break between the because you were invulnerable for the moment you got more ammo or did a glory kill. Instead, you just do a smashing with a gauntlet, and they literally call it melee ammo. You have ammo for the amount of times you can punch or hit something to get more, like it's they kinda changed that out for where the chainsaw would have been or the sword from Eternal. But,
Mm,
yeah, people are kinda mixed on it for various reasons. Some of and the secrets and levels aren't really secrets. It's a look up. "Oh, there's a pathway going up. Congratulations, that's a secret."
mm.
It's
Oh,
a It has all the right ingredients to be some like really metal and awesome and
yeah.
kind of savage and crazy, and it never quite gets there. The mechanics just don't have at least the way I've seen it and the way what little I played, it just doesn't have the symphony I was looking for. It
Mm.
looks cool, but it isn't cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the trailer really sold it as like, it's gonna be this really super metal game, like all the games were like the
Wanted to
Doom
be a metal
2016 and
album cover.
yeah, Doom Eternal was like that, and,
It was. So was Doom 2016.
yeah.
And so I was hoping, yeah, we got cyber dragons, we've got crazy dumb crap. It's got
Mechs.
going on the rule of cruel, but
You got mech suits
the
in there?
mechanics just don't prop it up as much as I had hoped.
Yeah. That's a shame to hear. I
But it's
have it
not a
on
bad game. Like if people say, "Oh, it's a terrible game," it's not a terrible game, but it is a you got to know what you're getting into. If you understand its limitations, you can have more enjoyment with it. But as a trying to look for another 2016 or even don't even go in looking for an Eternal, but just not even looking at it as a 2016, it just it, it just doesn't quite do it for me at least.
mm, yeah. Interesting. I have it on Game Pass, so I'll
Mm.
be interested to
For,
play
for
it.
a Game Pass price, aka whatever you pay for the Game Pass, it'll find its footing. It's solid. It's a solid enough time, and it's fairly fun,
Mm.
but it does get unfortunately repetitive.
Yeah, I think
Where
Game
the other
Pass
games
is
didn't quite get repetitive. Uh, this one kind of does because of the mechanics and various other elements. Um, I will say it's gorgeous looking. I hope you have a machine that can handle the RTX because that is mandatory.
yeah.
The specs on that is crazy.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, I think I do. Yeah, have a powerful enough
Yeah,
machine for it. I haven't booted it up yet, so
it's all right.
I downloaded it. So hopefully,
I
yeah.
think you'll have a solid enough time, but you got to go in with that expectation of it. Just it's not gonna be like the others.
Mm, okay, interesting. Well, Sage and Ulysses going to be covering that
Nice.
Monday. Yeah, and then next Friday, I think the big thing's coming out next Friday.
Mhm.
What's the big movie coming out next Friday? I think it's what is it? Let me see here really quickly. What do I have? Oh, it's that. It's 28 years later. 28 years later,
28 years later.
which I'm going to do a retro review for 28 days later.
Mm.
And then also there's that Brad Pitt. I think that movie's also coming out. Oh no, it's coming out the week after. I was going to talk about that Brad Pitt movie F1, but that's coming out the week after there.
That one has a huge budget.
Really?
Yeah, F1 is a surprisingly big budget.
What's the budget on it?
Give me a second.
Yeah, I hope it could be another good dad movie like Ford v
Oh
Ferrari or
yeah, I
Rush
hope so
or
too. 200 million.
wow, really? Damn,
Yeah,
1 million.
it
How
is.
much was Ford v Ferrari?
Let me see.
Yeah, how much was the budget on that?
2019 James Mangold. That was 97.
Damn. Okay. How much was
Let's
Rush? And
way back when Rush.
yeah.
Uh, let's see. Rush film. The what's that? Uh,
The Ron Howard movie.
oh, the Ron Howard.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Rushmore.
No, no, like that's what it went to
Yeah.
somehow. It's just like, oh, Rush. And it's like, no, that's not what I mean. 2013, right? Rush was 38 million.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
And Rush has a fantastic soundtrack by Hans Zimmer.
Mm, I haven't seen that movie in a minute. I gotta go back and watch it. I haven't seen that
Yeah,
movie.
no, that final score when they're doing the final race, the rivalry between the two, that score is fantastic. If nothing else, the score is fantastic.
Mm, yeah.
Rush is very underrated, actually, for a
Yeah.
racing movie. It's actually quite underrated.
Yeah, I love that movie. I love, yeah, one of my favorite Chris Hemsworth performances. Yeah,
I really,
yeah, I love him in Rush. So yeah, uh, so yeah, do that. So that's the big movie coming out next week. Is 28 years later,
yeah.
and we'll see what else we can do then. After the stream, of course, we'll go ahead and always raid somebody. Kara Fly's on right now. She's a streamer.
Oh yeah,
Who else is on right now? Mini Portable, who's a wrestling content creator streamer, is on right now. I haven't rated her in a minute. She's watching SmackDown. It's Friday. Rini Goddess is on right now. Purple Wine Tales is on right now. So yeah, got some good amount of people on right now. Then we go ahead and raid. It is Friday. Usually, a lot of people do stream on Fridays. Fridays
hey
back.
man, gotta get before the weekend. People got the time.
That's peak time to stream there. So yeah, there's that. Everything like that. So awesome stuff there. So like I said, do these reviews, Materialist, How to Train Your Dragon, and head out to No News. There. So I'm gonna queue up these reviews. Go ahead, get started on this. Very awesome. Dust, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. So I'm gonna let Dust go first. Dust is going to give his review of the DreamWorks live action film How to Train Your Dragon there, which is a remake of the animated one that was in 2010, 15 years ago.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much. It came out in 2010.
Dust, let us know.
Yeah, no problem. Uh, How Do You Train Your Dragon, the live action version with the CGI dragons. Uh, Josh, I have a question for you.
Yes, good sir.
Have you seen the original?
Yes, I just rewatched it yesterday.
Congratulations, you've seen this.
Mm.
This is a beat for beat remake with some small caveats, a little extra scenes, some added uh, elements to the Viking village, and some of the lore with them. But for the most part, it's beat for beat. Heck, when I was watching the CGI on Toothless, I thought to myself, I wonder if they used the same 3D model on the final iteration and they just copied it over and brought it over.
Mm.
I could tell it's slightly different, but I did think that. Um, the CGI in it is actually not too bad, all things considered. If you're talking about the plot of this movie, like I said, it's beat for beat. The If anyone hasn't seen this, it's about a Viking village called Burke, where dragons frequently attack and steal livestock and endanger people's lives. The main character is named Haddock, and he is the son of the chieftain Stoic the Vast, who is this powerful chieftain and super manly, and he is currently learning from a friend of Stoic's, a blacksmith named Gobber, and who he makes inventions with. See, Hiccup's not really a powerful Viking, but he's actually quite smart, and he uses that intelligence to make crafty inventions to help the village. But that doesn't impress his father specifically, unless he can kill a dragon, because that's what he can really focus on. For various reasons, he has a particular problem with dragons that is explored further in the film, not just because they get attacked over and over again. Well, at one point in the night, while he's at night watch for dragons, he spots one that's quick, super quick across the sky, and decides to attack it. And with pure dumb luck, manages to hit it. And when he tracks the dragon down, he finds him weak and defenseless and could kill the dragon, but instead decides not to and starts studying it, starts looking at it, and instead starts to try and understand why it does what it does. And eventually he ends up forming a bond with it and calls it Toothless. This movie follows that premise of the original CGI movie that came out in 2010. Same premise, same everything. Uh, the only difference is the live action cast, which for better or for the most part, honestly, is fine. I don't think they completely match and do any better than the original cast, but a lot of their performances aren't worse either. They do the best they can with the material, which is the same material the first time. So if you like the first one, it's pretty much beat for beat the original dialogue, writing, to the point where I go, why was this made? And then I remember DreamWorks was going to remake this anyways, and they asked, "Hey, you directed the original three, Dean. Do you want to be a part of this?" And Dean just went, "Well, if they're going to remake it anyways, I might as well be a part of it." And he ends up doing the best he can with the same material he's already done before. The biggest, honestly, the biggest problem I have with this movie is honestly mostly to do with some of the casting, specifically one casting in particular. Parker plays Astrid Hofferson in the live action, and I got nothing against Nico Parker as an actress, uh, although she wasn't super great in Dumbo.
Well,
Uh,
nobody's good in Dumbo.
no, she's kind of bad in Dumbo,
Yeah, I mean, I
but
think it's a bad movie overall.
yeah. But in any case, I don't particularly have anything against her as an actress, but I'm gonna be completely honest. What is it? Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. She should not have been cast in this role for various reasons. The first reason is we all know what Astrid looks like. We all know her character. We all know it. And it was a big controversy at the time that they basically changed her, and they changed basically semi race swapped, got a brunette with darker skin tone to play this character. Well, most of the casting is pretty much the same. Hell, Gerard Butler actually comes back as Hiccup's father. He
Yes.
voiced him originally and then comes back. Everyone else matches the characters except for Astrid. Astrid is one of the few that is oddly not the same as their animated counterpart. And that really stands out, especially if you've seen the original trilogy, honestly, and the TV series and everything else they've done with it. It just seems really odd to change it up at the last moment.
And
Does
have you
take it?
seen
Yeah, go ahead.
all the movies plus the show?
I have seen the movies. I've seen the movies. I saw like the sequel Christmas special. Like they had like a brief Christmas special later. It was like 30 minutes. It's like a 30-minute Christmas special where they Toothless shows up with his kids and they meet Hiccup's kids, and it's a cute little
Oh,
special. It's not long.
gotcha.
And after the ending of the third movie, and that's about it. I've maybe seen like an episode or two barely of the TV series. They're not for me. That was
Too
not. That was. I
kiddie.
mean, I was just like, I had no business watching it. It's like, oh, this is for like younger kids. This is your thing.
Yeah, you
But
aged out already for it.
yeah, yeah. But I've seen all the movies.
Okay.
With that said, this movie isn't bad. It carries a lot of the same weight, a lot of the emotions, and most of the cast are trying to do what they can with the material, which is solid material because it came from the first one, and the first one is a good movie. My problem just comes down to the why is this live action? Live action handicaps it. Like it's trying its best to break the constraints of a story that was made very specifically for a different medium, and that medium did it better. But it's trying the best it can. It feels like a movie that has its hand tied, but it still does fairly well in its own right.
Mm.
Um, do you have any questions about the movie overall or anything interesting?
I mean, it seems like it's doing what live action remakes do. I mean,
Yeah,
it's I mean, following beat by beat what the story of the animated film
yeah,
is. It doesn't contain any of the soul or heart of what the animated film has. It kind of, even I think there were some people. I don't know. We talked about this a little bit before. Um, Maybe some hope that because you brought back the original director from the animated film that maybe they were like,
yeah.
"Oh, okay, maybe it can have a little bit of that." But then again, it also goes back to what we ask about all these live action remakes is
Mhm.
why?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, we know why, but
Yeah, we know why. It's money.
right, but it's like, I mean, yeah,
Like
but
creatively, artistically, why? Because you've already done it. You've done it better. How to Train Your Dragon is a huge franchise for DreamWorks.
it helped build DreamWorks.
It
This
helped build DreamWorks along with Kung Fu
Shrek,
Panda
Kung
and
Fu Panda,
Shrek.
Boss Baby.
Yeah,
So yeah.
again, it just everything and along with it, the original How You Train Your Dragon series were based on the children's book, but also through the trilogy, you end up really growing with these characters, and you got to see them grow and mature and get older. Uh, by
Mm,
the time the audience is showing it, the only way I can see this is reintroducing them to a story that they probably have already seen already with the original trilogy. They're just curious to see how you interpret it in a live action format. And as far as live action goes, he did the best they could. I think Dean did a fair enough job doing the same material that he'd already done before, but in a new format. But I on the casting issues aside, I just can't recommend this movie. Really, it's not a bad movie, but I can't recommend seeing this in movie theaters. Really, you've already seen it before. You can watch the original at home already. There's really no reason to see this in movie theaters. Uh, but that said, it's not a bad movie. So I'd probably just on that premise alone, if it wasn't for it being a remake, I actually would say on its own merit, if it was on its own merits, this would be a pretty solid tune in. But because it's a live action remake, it's something that's already exists, and it's a limited version of the original. I gotta just give it a stream it.
streaming. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, you gave Lilo and Stitch a stream it too, right?
yeah, I did.
Okay.
Just on principle alone,
Is it better or worse than Lilo and Stitch?
it's better,
Mm,
far
okay.
better.
Why is that?
It doesn't have a really terrible it doesn't remove parts that fundamentally screw over the movie like Lilo and Stitch did. Lilo and Stitch is cheap. This movie isn't cheap. It's just limited. There's a big difference. Two,
Mm,
uh it doesn't have extra characters added that take away from the other characters or remove other characters and change their arcs completely, thus changing the very meaning and nature of the movie and not adding any substance back. And finally, three, it doesn't have an ending that completely goes against the entire point of the original movie. Uh,
mm,
for those many, many reasons and the many other reasons of the meanings and taking away, like we didn't even talk about in Lilo Stitch story because I didn't want to spoil anything, but they removed so many inherently subtle and also non-subtle important moments in in that original animated that I was just shocked that the amount that was missing from it that they just thought was okay to just remove and just like, yeah, it's fine. Nobody cares. Oh, it's like, no, that was fundamental to the story. They were small moments, but they were really integral and really impressive for an animated movie. And they're just like, nah, we only have so much. We're just not going to do that. Instead, we're going to add 20 minutes to the movie and bloat it.
mm,
This this avoided that. Like, there's still some bloat in it, a little bit of bloat, but this at least adhered to the skeletal structure.
mm.
It followed its story either rigorously or not, whether that's a good or bad thing, and did the best it could within the medium it was limited to be in because of it being already established beforehand.
Mm.
It is a stream it because of that. It is because of its limitations, not because it lacks originality, even though it does. At least it tried to follow its containment instead of just being a half-ass, lazy, soulless piece of crap. This is a I'm trying soulless product,
Mm.
soulless version of the original. Like it's trying to recapture that soul of the original, but it's limited by what it has.
And the budget on this is pretty big. It's
Yeah.
$150 million.
And you see it. Like
Uh,
fair enough. You do see it.
yes,
Some of the dragon CGI is pretty solid, especially Toothless. But I
yeah,
mean, they have to nail that. They have to.
because the trailer has some scenes in here, like especially with the villain dragon in
Yeah.
here, like the bigger one that looks really good. It looks like
Mhm.
yeah, you'd see
No, the
something like
budget's
that.
there. Like, there's no question that the budget was there, and there's no question this is going to make money because the original made money.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's 15 million right now. It has to make at least probably like 400
We'll
million.
see by word of mouth. My hope is honestly that we get no more live action remakes and we actually start respecting the art medium and especially 2D animation and 3D animation
Mm.
because I'm really tired of this. I'm tired of seeing the same movie that they've done already, but just live action. It's a no. 2D art isn't just a childish movie. 2D art is a respectable medium. Animation is a respectable medium, and it has its own soul and its own ability. Movies are made in different mediums because they have a purpose, and people chose that medium specifically to tell that story.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot more drastic things to retell a story in a different medium,
Mm,
and
yeah.
oftentimes, an animation just allows you to explore your imagination far wilder than you can in live action.
And Lilo and Stitch is crushing it. I think,
Yeah,
pretty popular.
Lilo and Stitch, unfortunately, is the we know there's a huge generation of people who grew up with Lilo and Stitch. That was their movie. That was their
Mhm.
growing up movie, and so that's a lot nostalgia. Most of that's nostalgia. But if you look beyond the initial surface of it, it's incredibly subpar version of the original. It's a soulless version of the original 2D animated, which had so much soul and character.
Yeah, and we did a retro review. And we talked
Yeah, we
about
did.
that. Yeah, so the greatness of that movie, and hopefully we can do a retro review of 2010, How to Train Your
Yeah.
Dragon. Talk about that. But so you give it just a plain old streaming
Yeah,
for
just give it a stream it. There's no reason to see this in theaters. It's not a bad movie. It's just a redoing of something that already exists. But for what it is, it's one of the better versions of this,
mm,
of a live action remake.
okay. So just a plain old streaming from Dust for How to Train Your
Mhm.
Dragon. And I was looking, I saw maybe on Wikipedia that they already have a sequel planned already. Like
Oh god.
they already have that like
Please
in the
stop.
works.
Stop.
Uh,
Please stop.
yeah. So I was
I
like,
beg
okay.
of you.
So I guess they already have a sequel plan for this. I don't know. But yeah, How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, like you said, big. It had sequels, TV series there. Very popular for DreamWorks. It helped build DreamWorks along with, as Dust was mentioning, yeah, Kung Fu Panda, Shrek. Yeah, this was huge. So, all right, that was Dust review. Okay, we're moving on to our next and last review before we head out here. And yeah, the weekend's coming up. Father's Day's coming up. Father's Day's weekend.
Mm.
Last Crusade is going to be in theater. Are you going to watch Last Crusade?
Hell yeah.
It's re-releasing in theater. So,
Damn right I'm gonna see The Last Crusade. I watched The Terminator when it just got re-released briefly.
mm,
Alamo Draft House.
nice, very dope there.
I'm gonna see Terminator 2 is later. They're doing all the Conan they're doing all the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. They're doing Total Recall, Terminator, Terminator 2, and Conan the Barbarian.
Ah, very nice. Okay, cool. Uh,
Classics.
yeah, uh, yeah. So, good old Last Crusade, which I think is the best Indiana Jones movie, is Last Crusade.
Yeah, I'm partial to the original. I like the simplicity of the original, and but yeah, the technicality and just performances and all around just effects and everything. Yeah, The Last Crusade is fantastic.
Mm, yeah, amazing movie. The chemistry between Harrison Ford, Sean Connery,
Oh
undeniable.
yeah, that makes and breaks that movie.
Yeah, awesome stuff there. All right. Let me pull up my notes for this review, and we go ahead and close out here.
Hmm.
Very good stuff. Got that. Okay. Get this. Okay. All right. Let me move this over here. Okay. All right, people. So our last review of the day is going to be for the Celine Song film Materialist. Materialist is the sophomore film from Celine Song, who did one of my favorite movies of 2023. She did Past Lives, which I was a huge fan of Past Lives. Like I said, one of my favorite movies of the year. Um, really was big on that movie, loved it a lot. And I was excited to see this. I was really excited to see her sophomore follow up here in with Materialist. Even the trailer, I was like, I'm kind of iffy on it, but hey, it's Celine Song. I'll give it a benefit of the doubt coming to this and give it a good shot here. So, what is this movie about? So, in the film Materialist, you have Dakota Johnson, you have Pedro Pascal, you have Chris Evans. Dakota Johnson plays a character named Lucy. Lucy is a matchmaker in New York who specializes in setting people up, finding the perfect match for people. even if that can be incredibly challenging and difficult with people's long list of demands and boxes they want checked off in their partners. That's what she kind of perfectly kind of serves there. When she's at a wedding for one of her clients there, which one of her clients gets married, which is kind of in this world, I guess, of matchmaking, is kind of one of the best things that can happen to you because it's like, hey, my clients got married. That's like a big accomplishment there. She's at the wedding and she meets Pedro Pascal, this very, very wealthy man who she encounters there. And then, but also at the same wedding, who's working as a waiter, you have Chris Evans, who was her longtime boyfriend at one point who they broke up after 5 years together. So she's trying to kind of decide, like, oh, okay, like Chris Evans, he's back in my life. What does this mean? Pedro
Mm.
Pascal is this new fresh thing. Do I go with that? And trying to work at that. And Celine Song, um, her and her husband, who I forgot her husband's name, they're big fans of the thruple. They're big fans of the triangles. Past Lives was about that. Her husband's film Challengers was about that.
Mm.
So I don't know if they got something going on in their life where there's a triangle going on, but they are big fans of the triangle, and you kind of see that here. So this movie, like I said, I was kind of looking forward to it, coming into it being the sophomore film from her doing Past Lives, and I could say that I was honestly incredibly disappointed in this. Didn't like it as much, even half as good as I like Past Lives. And I think this
Mm.
is broaching the same subjects and topics as Past Lives in terms of love and connection, but more from a dark, kind of cynical point of view. Because I think Past Lives is more optimistic and hopeful about connection and love. This is more taking a cynical look at that. Is because you do have a matchmaker. They're in New York, and it's trying to navigate like what is love and what is love, especially in a kind of capitalistic world, and how does that work? Can
It
there be such a
it's more
thing?
like in the dating world, in the dating game when you look at it as numbers,
Yeah, because you, like I said, you have all these people who
and
have
when
all
people
these.
have incredibly high demands of each other.
Yeah, credible high demands of each other. There's a montage where she goes over, all these clients she's meeting, and then all these boxes that they want checked. It's like, okay, they got to be over 6 foot, and they got to be well educated, and they got to be rich, and they got to be good looking, and then they have to have all this, and also they have to come from a good family, and blah blah blah. Like all these qualifications that people must meet for them to date. And yeah, it's like what is love and is marriage, especially when it comes to marriage, because that's a big thing with this as well. um you know is marriage ever just I love you, you love me, let's get together? Is it always kind of this social, economic contract, financial, kind of standards there as well when it comes to marriage there? Does all those things kind of add up as well, other than just, love? And it broaches those subjects, but I don't think it fully fleshes them out very well. I don't think it explores them very well. It also, you have three characters, in Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal, who are not very interesting and not very, I don't really connect with any of them. And connection doesn't mean I can relate to the characters or um, I can see myself in these people. It connection just means like I'm interested in following them and following their story. I wasn't very interested in following what Dakota Johnson was doing. I wasn't very interested in Pedro Pascal in this movie or Chris Evans in this. And
Mm.
him being a guy like he has, because it's supposed to contrast. Pedro Pascal is this very rich guy, and Chris Evans is this broke guy. And Chris Evans has the classic broke guy job. He's a waiter, but also he wants to be an actor. So he's a struggling actor on the side, and he
Yeah.
does low budget plays and everything like that. Um, just all that stuff just was to me
Also, she's a dick in this movie. Everyone's a dick in this movie.
uh I mean, yeah, I would say that as well. I mean, which is again, you can follow unlikable people if they're
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely. I'm not saying that's not,
Yeah, yeah, I said, yeah, I get your point there. You can follow 'em if they are interesting. And Dakota Johnson, she comes off as somebody who's very blunt, but also very honest and very blunt,
She
honest.
has a thing about Dakota Johnson. She does at least have the ability to be charming when need arrives.
Yeah.
She can be.
I feel like,
Also, I love how the Coca-Cola bottle is very present in the scene, so you know that Coca-Cola paid for that scene.
oh yeah, it's a good looking bottle, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You gotta make sure it's completely there.
Mm. But also, I feel like Dakota Johnson talks at like one tone through most of the
Oh,
movie,
yeah, no, absolutely. I
which
said when
kind
the
of
need calls for it, for the most part, she kind of is extremely monotone and extremely limited, unfortunately.
yeah, it kind of makes you sleepy a little bit. It's like she kind of just talks at one tone. But yeah, what do you think about this movie?
Um, yeah, I agree with you. It's interesting because Past Lives was that you said is very optimistic. It's an optimistic tone movie for a very sad story
Yeah.
and like almost like naively optimistic for a very sad story. And then this one is a very critical, very mechanical, almost big critique, looking down on the whole idea of love and relationships. Uh, but from like a very, it's like almost like a nice story. Like the endings, the way it wraps up, the way it's kind of cliched and it's very romantic trappings. It's just extremely cynical, and it's very interesting to see the almost like the yin and yang, where the original one was a sad story but looked in a positive manner, and this one is a, I guess, nicer story but looked in a far more cynical and crueler manner, more
Mhm.
mechanical.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kinda how I feel, and this is also it's pitched as, like, a romantic comedy. It's not I mean, there's
Not
some
really.
it's not very that comedic, and
No. Like
it
maybe
could be
circumstances, like almost like a Woody Allen circumstance, awkward comedy.
yeah, because there's some of the sequences when she's, like I said, talking to the clients that she
Yeah.
has that's kinda funny a little bit,
But it's like a
but
little sad also.
yeah, it's kinda a little sad, and again, Dakota Johnson's character is kind of I don't really understand her exact motivation all the time or,
Yeah.
like, where she's at because you would think, like, it seems like they're setting up her being a matchmaker as kinda, like, jaded her experience in dating, right?
Yeah.
That, she's very, like I say, very blunt about it, and when she's, like, with Pedro Pascal, she's like,
Mhm.
"Well, listen, I'm older, you could get a much younger woman than me that's you can, marry and then have kids with, and then in 10 years, it's gonna still look good, me as opposed to me." I don't come from a good family. I dropped out of college. Like she's very like looks at dating as all these numbers, right? Like if
Right.
you're a guy and you're 6 foot plus, you're gonna do much better in the dating market than a guy that's 5'9" or 5'8" or below, right? Like it's just the way it is,
I
right?
mean,
And
she's
that's
unfortunately correct.
right. It's just the way it is, right? She has this very clinical, look at dating and
Mhm.
relationships, right? And that thing. But then
She Yeah.
oh no, go ahead.
She is the very definition of someone that, let's say you or I, asked her like, "Hey, I'm thinking, ask for your services. Here's like a resume write up. What you think, and then give it to me, and then I look over it. I look over what you submit or whatever, and we'll meet." She would have no issue basically breaking down. Uh, Here are all your strength. Here are the strengths you have. Here are your weaknesses, and I'm going to be completely, utterly blunt with you. And here's the if you want to continue this, here's my price point. Here's my service. If you want the reality, here's the reality.
Yeah.
She's very much the tit for tat. I'm here for a business mindset.
Yeah. Which I mean, I think sometimes with her clients, it seems like that she, because she still wants to form a relationship and money from the
Right.
client, so she tries to kind of smooth it over a little bit,
Yeah.
like, like okay, I mean, you say you want this, but I mean, you are kind of older, and
Yeah.
you're
Do
not
you
the,
Is that really something feasible?
it's like that. It's like okay,
Respectfully speaking, because you are paying me money.
yeah, it's like I mean, can we maybe
Yeah.
talk about another guy? Does he have to be exactly 6 foot? Could he be
Yeah.
5'10" maybe?
You're the range of clients I could get you that if you just drop by 2, 3 inches, just 2 or 3 inches can, expand exponentially. Can they
Yeah.
maybe be 5'8", maybe 5'7"?
Yeah. Like, can you, like, expand your parameters a little bit? Like, maybe if you expand your parameters, maybe you'll be open.
I guess the way I interpreted her was that she became a matchmaker in the hope of, like, without really going into spoilers, her relationship and, Lucy's and John's relationship didn't end on the best of terms.
Mm,
It was a financial issue, um, and they broke it off. Well, one really broke it off from the other,
mm,
and that created a rift between the two, which of course does. And I always got the vibe that she was almost kind of, although I don't, unfortunately, Johnson doesn't really, she doesn't really emulate that. But I got from the script, I got the feeling from the script and the dialogue, or at least what I guess what maybe I'm reaching for, was that she was saddened by, like, deeply saddened by it, and the fact that her motivation was trying to make sure that didn't happen for other people. And so she was taking people's expectations and kind of trying to sand them off a bit and try to get them to somebody that would actually take care of them.
yeah.
And the twist, and she could do that because she wasn't completely occupied with someone else, so she could focus entirely on the client's relationship. But once she meets Pedro Pascal and meets John again, uh, it starts getting, she starts kind of not being as confident as she used to be, and that involves a scenario in which she thought she chose correctly, but in her just being distracted, or at least not quite sure and was losing her balance, she ends up choosing wrong, or
Mm,
seeing something she maybe could have seen before, but it's just a situation, and that kind of spirals her even further. So that was I thought the motivation. I interpreted it as a longing to try to correct something that she, and also make the best of the decision she had made,
mm,
because I think deep down she knew she made the wrong decision, but it was kind of well, I'm in too deep. I might as well make the best of it.
yeah. And
Mhm.
it's established with Pedro Pascal's character that they call him in the matchmaking business a unicorn because he fits all the boxes, right?
Yeah,
He's tall, he's good looking, he's rich, he's charming, he's Pedro Pascal,
it's a
like
last name.
yeah. I mean,
Everyone else doesn't get a last name. They're only first names. He's the only one who gets a last name.
yeah. So it's like he if women were to list off all their desirable traits in a partner for the man, right? All the things they
Yeah,
want, he fits all those things, right?
yeah.
Um And like I said, the movie's trying to like explore these things of like because you have a situation like in the beginning of the movie where she's at her client's wedding and the client is having a breakdown about she's thinking about running out of her own wedding and she kind of realized like what is the reason she just asked her like you can just be straight up with me, I'm not going to tell anybody, I've heard you know terrible things all the time, you can just be honest with me, why are you marrying this guy, what's the reason? And then her reason was, well, he's my sister, even though she won't tell me, I know that she's jealous of me for marrying this guy because he's tall and good looking and rich, and even though I don't even really love him, I just like the fact that my husband is better than her husband and I've won. Right? So that's her reason for marrying this
Which
guy
is a
because
terrible reason, but also unfortunately, as a I'll give Celine's song this, uh, very accurate, unfortunately, to how some women behave and the mentality they have is, I just want that small victory of knowing I did better over another person, another quote unquote friend or sister or relative, regardless of how that impacts me in my life.
mm,
Like, it's like a really terrible decision, but out of pure spite and jealousy and one-upsmanship, I'm just gonna destroy my life so it appears better than yours.
yeah.
But I don't actually care about the person.
Yeah. I mean, which is very true and some people like again
Happens more often than you think, unfortunately.
it goes into again the conversation that this movie tries
Yeah.
to talk about of like what is marriage for? Like,
Yeah.
why do people get
I
married? What
actually
is
think if
love?
they just stuck more, if they dropped, like, the romantic, like, triangle BS, and some of, like, the, other issues, and they stuck more to that what is love and what is a marriage and relationship and why are you actually doing this in the first place, like, it kind of does, but if they stuck more to those guns, I think it actually would have said more and spoke more. If it was a bit more, like, because you could tell it's fighting through the movie, but it just never quite gets there. It's kind of bogged down by its own, like, cliche wrapping.
Yeah. Of like, I mean, the premise of it of like rich guy or poor guy. Like,
Yeah,
which
that's
is she
right.
gonna pick?
If it was if it really was it didn't matter who was more, like, who was more important or who ended up being more important to her regardless. That was the person that mattered, and her realizing that, and that losing confidence because she cares about two people, but like that, like an old flame and a current flame, and what do I do? But also like exploring that herself, which it kind of does, but also touching on the stuff that she does for a living and re-examining it like it does. It just unfortunately, it's just kind of cliche. Like, kind of what this is going to go. I was hoping actually for a twist, but
Mm.
it doesn't really. The only twist is like the one of her clients goes through a bad point, which felt like okay, why? Like that one
Yeah,
was like, okay, what did that really add?
yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because there's something that happens to one of
Like
her
it felt out
clients
of nowhere.
that did feel like it just was like, "Okay, this kinda comes out of nowhere." But I mean, I've heard there were some women at screenings for this movie because this movie premiered earlier,
Yeah,
so a lot of critics got access to this movie like a
yeah,
week early, that some really connected with that. I mean, I don't know, I mean, I kinda felt like it kinda comes out of nowhere, and it's
yeah,
like, what is this kinda showing initially? Like,
yeah,
as far as the place in this movie,
yeah.
and its placement here, and it kinda just feels like a tool more than
Yeah,
like
if it was tool for a narrative, but it didn't go much further than she never goes into how could I have what happened and why did I miss that? It never goes into like wait a minute. It never goes into if you're so good at this and so good at all that, how did you miss that? Even if you were distracted, how did you miss something that would kind of be that? Or if they're going to do that, there should have been a buildup of a everything else was perfect. It didn't matter if there was a small, tiny detail or a you wanted this, and this. There comes a price on that this checkbox list. Now
mm,
that if they did that, that would have built up to it in a client in a way like a client. And she's like, how could you have done this or whatever? It's like that there was a I more it's like I said, there's a price. There's a price for every list that you make. Eventually, it's like I hate to bring this up. I'm gonna be a bit of a nerd for a moment, but it's like min maxing. If you get more stat, you only get so many points allotted to stat your character. And if you want to min max, you want to get the best build. You're gonna have to remove some of your points overall if you want to level up another stat.
right.
There's a price to pay for getting more of a specialization or going for a specific thing, but they don't really explore any of that. It's just a tool for the story to bring John back into the story and for them to like reconnect, and then that goes nowhere after that. That entire thing is dropped.
Yeah, and the conclusion of it, when they kind of
Yeah.
lead on, it's like, I don't know, it just kinda I don't think it worked very well. Yeah, I mean, like you talked about with that and just, again, analyzing love in these people who have all these
Hmm.
qualifications, and you could really dig into this, you know what I mean, more and really expand upon it. And I'm not saying, just a conversation when people talk about settling, like what is settling? Like if have all these bodies, like you want to meet a guy that's 6'1", but he's 6 foot. Really, is that settling? Really, if you pick a guy that's 6 foot, not 6'1", like really, come on. I mean, and
Hmm.
all these things. And yeah, I just think it kind of fumbles the bag there in a lot of those aspects, which is
Yeah.
yeah, which is and like I said, I mean, being a big fan of Past Lives, this was kind of disappointing because like I said, I loved everything about that movie. And this Past Lives also had such great performances. Like Greta Lee was
Oh
so
yeah.
amazing in it. And she was so fantastic. I don't think she got nominated, right, for best. I don't think she got.
No, I don't believe. Maybe. Let me double
Yeah,
check.
because I think I was one of the people I was like, "Man, yeah, I wanna see her get nominated for Best Actress." I thought she was just that good in it. And just also the look of this movie as well, like, New
She
York
was
and
nominated for a Golden Globe.
okay, just the Golden Globe, okay. And also the look of this movie as well is also really shot really well
Mm,
and showing New York because this also Materials also takes place in New York as well.
mhm.
That also looks really great. Here I think Materialist New York just looks so flat and kind of like especially when they're in the apartments of these people. Like Pedro Pascal, like he pays $13 million for this condo, and it's like you see like he's got the most minimal like he just got like a bed. He doesn't have any paintings on the wall. He's got nothing there. You don't
He's
see
got
like anything.
nothing.
Like he lives like a fucking Dexter Morgan from like it's just like he's got nothing.
Hey man.
Uh, Yeah. So yeah, for me, I would just kind of give this a stream it, kind of just a stream it for me. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you. There's nothing terrible about it. There's nothing horrible about it, but for all the trappings of that it tries to tell, all the more nuances it tries to give, I get the feeling the script was stronger than what ended up coming out.
Mm,
And I don't know, man. It just feels like some of the act there are actresses and actors that I would have been more interested to see play this out. And if this was a stronger script, this could have worked. If it was a stronger, more focused script with these ideas, I think we could have had something really special. And instead, we get something that is all right, pretty okay, all right, despite its cinematography and acting. And it's really unfortunate because I really did want to, because again, it's an interesting subject. I really wanted to dive into it, and it kind of touches it on a surface level, and then for a brief moment goes a little bit under it, and then and then it doesn't go any further, and it just becomes a rom, but without the calm,
mm, yeah,
and just kind of meanders after that.
yeah. And I'm not saying rom coms have to be like joke a minute and everybody's
No, no,
being
no.
wacky. I'm just saying like it's not very comedic in any way. I mean, there's some little funny moments,
Yeah.
but you could do dark humor. You can do various types of humor. You can do like a Woody Allen, kind of sarcasm humor.
I
You
mean,
could do
even
that.
if it's a romantic drama or a dramedy or a romantic form in that's fine. But this wasn't dramatic enough either.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's again, it's an interesting subject, but it just felt like it was a very tailored, almost watered down. I'm curious to see if that was the original script from page one, or if over time it got more watered down, or more talked down, or more limited as time went on.
Mm, yeah. And Nathan Flynn, he kind of had the same opinions as me on this movie, and he made a funny comment. He was like, he's like, I think this movie would have just been much better if the characters decided to kill themselves. Like, because he was like, I don't think these people would ever be happy ever. Like, if they just like, they're never gonna get happiness. Like, just like,
No,
yeah, you might as well just be better off killing themselves. So yeah, so two streamers for Materialists there.
yeah,
But I mean, I'd be interested to see what she does. She actually has a TV show planned on HBO coming out where it's about esports, like an esports drama thing on HBO.
sure. I worry, unfortunately, she might get to a point where she's a one and done,
Mm. She only got
where
one story in her.
she only got one really good story, and
Mm.
that's all she's got.
Mm. I hope.
I think I worry that that might entirely be possible. That she's a one hit wonder.
Mm, I hope not. Because
I mean, it's a hell of a hit. A one hit wonder is a one hit wonder. You still get a hit, but
I mean, nominated for best picture is pretty
hell
cool.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
if I get the vibe, I hope that changes. But I'm getting the vibe.
yeah. And what was I gonna say? Oh, like if like I don't
Mhm.
know if she's doing like a love trilogy, I guess, in some way, like,
Yeah.
different sides of love or something, like, if that's what's kind of what she's doing, maybe, I don't know, but it'd be interesting if she did, I don't know, a 3rd movie about love or something, you know, approach
What the
this.
characters are in hell trying to get their way out of hell or some crap?
No, I'm just like, how, like, we talked about with this movie, like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
The
she did.
love trilogy.
Yeah, like how, like something like that, like these connected movies as far as theme goes, like Edgar Wright had the parody of movies of what he
Oh,
did,
yeah, the
and
ice cream cone trilogy, or
yeah.
the fistful of dollars trilogy, the man with no name trilogy. Yeah,
Yeah, because like Past Lives, I guess, is like optimistic love, and then this is
it's like
cynical.
optimistic love with like the saddest ending and story. It's just it ends in such a way where I was just like, just go with him.
Yeah.
Clearly, you like it's clearly it tears you apart. You
Mm.
really think you're gonna stay with this other person and that's gonna make it better? And that's a disservice to the guy that you're with.
Yeah.
It is. It hurts everybody. If it's really that bad and
She was
you're
crying at the end.
tearing you up, it's tearing me apart, Lisa, then just go.
Yeah, because she was like crying at the end.
She was
Yeah,
sobbing, nearly inconsolable in the arms of the man that she kind of loves, but not as deeply connected to the other person, apparently, to her
yeah,
childhood friend and first love.
yeah.
How is that man gonna compete?
Like, this was I mean, I listen, this man is better than me, man. Because I was like I
Yeah,
mean, because this dude who actually makes a cameo in Materialists, by the way, this guy.
yeah, it was hilarious.
He's the voice of somebody
Yeah,
named
Arthur is a better man than I am because I would have just been like, just go.
like, this was like, wow, man, and, like, you know the funniest scene in this movie,
Yeah,
I laughed hard because there's a scene where she's, like, talking to him, like, because in the movie, like, about him a lot, right, to
yeah,
her new partner, and then, he actually finally meets him in person, and then this dude, the look on his face, he was like, "Fuck, this dude is gorgeous." Like, "Oh my
yeah.
god, like, what the fuck?"
I
You
can't
know?
compete against that.
I was like, "Jeez," but, like
No, yeah,
yeah, but just like, yeah, I mean, the connection especially also from a cultural level
yeah. Her
too of
cultural connection, everything
yeah,
connection, and like again, like kudos to that guy, like Arthur. He is being incredibly supportive and all these things. And what if it's a past life too, and whatever this stuff, and you're like, oh man. And I'm just like, if you're this almost inconsolable, this heartbroken, just go.
yeah, wow. So you
Like,
wouldn't have,
like
it's over, you
what
wouldn't
am I
support
what am I going to stand? What I'm going to be considered to that guy for the rest of my life in our relationship.
mm,
I'm going to be compared to that the rest of my relationship. The foundation of that relationship will be founded on that moment, and no matter whatever comfort I can give, it's kind of a I will know I will always be a second choice. Guys, ladies, guys, if you're out there listening to this, and I hope you are, uh, please don't second choice somebody.
mm,
If you're knowing you're in a relationship with someone and you know that you're only in that relationship because it's a convenient or it's some kind or I have some boyfriends or ex-girlfriends and I'm in a relationship now but I haven't deleted those numbers, I haven't blocked them, I have problems with getting rid of that. Don't do that to your new partner or potentially new partner. You're with them. Everything in the past is kind of the past, and you just let that go. Do not second choice because a a relationship or a foundation built on a second person, a being the second best choice is not a relationship. It's
mm,
a rebound emergency hookup. It's a settlement. Don't do that to your partner. Don't do that to your loved one. If you really love somebody, let that go.
mm. Wise words, though. That's why you're my first option, Dusk, and Nick
Thank
is
you.
the second option, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, yeah, yeah.
hmm
So that was that. So,
Two streamers from the Materialist.
yeah. Uh, all right, go ahead, and raise somebody. Kara's on playing at League of
If you
Legends.
want to have the most funny slash depressing Valentine's Day of all time, make this a double feature.
No, come
Past
up with
lives.
get a better movie to watch other than
That's what
Material.
I'm saying. If you want to have the like one of the worst Valentine's days of all time,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
roller coaster emotions.
yeah. Because like, what would be a good like if this was cynical, what would be the other film that a side of love that you would want to see?
So if the other one was like almost naively optimistic, this one's cynical. I'd honestly just like to see a ooh,
Abusive.
that'd be funny. I'd love to see a movie that talks about dating like a Russell Attenborough, like a BBC special.
Like
That
nature
like a
documentary.
nature documentary and
Uh,
just looks at it from a very cheeky but well-meaning nature documentary. Like
mm,
just genuinely just trying to understand the other like almost like the movie True Stories where he's just walking around in a cowboy hat looking at this small town. That'd be kind of interesting to see in like a very intimate setting and it's just why did she choose to do that? For what
mm,
reason she choose to do this? Was it because of these reasons? Who can say? All we know is that unfortunately, he left alone. Why did he choose to to not open the door for for her? Was it because she asked for it beforehand? Perhaps. Oh, he's still considering it. Will he open the door? He
I
seemed
feel
to
like
open the door.
this is like some Ricky Gervais would do. Like he would narrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It'd be interesting, or at least like you're like a fly on the wall and you're just kind of, but like it's a well-meaning, but also just kind of cheeky look at a not positive, but not really like overly negative, just kind of like matter of fact,
Mm,
romantic comma dramedy.
yeah. Mm, yeah. Well, we'll see what she does next. There.
Despite promising himself he is to not call her immediately, he unfortunately reached for the number, quickly dialed it, and then immediately decided to end the phone call, hoping that the phone call had not been sent. But we live in the year 2025. That message had already been sent.
uh, but I'm gonna go ahead raid Kara Fly. She's on right now. She's playing
Nice.
League of Legends. Oh, Christina's on
Mm,
Cosmopolitics. They're doing that. I'll go ahead and rate them since they
yeah.
are on their show. Good channel, good people over there. I love the crew.
Mm,
Conan, Christina, Movie Night Extravaganza, great guys and gals over there. Very awesome. We'll be back. I'll definitely be back Sunday. I'll be doing a retro review for Tangerine. Have you ever seen Tangerine, the Sean Baker film?
uh, once.
Once, okay. 10 years ago that movie came out. So
Yeah.
that's his very first film, right?
Yeah,
Tangerine.
it's one of his earliest ones. If you've seen one of his films, you've seen a lot of his films. But Tangerine is probably one of the more ones that are deeply memorable and not the ways I that I want.
Yeah.
It's a
So
very very sad movie.
yeah, I've seen Red Rocket. I've seen Honora. I
Red
haven't.
Rocket's interesting because all the marketing with that shows it to be like, oh, it's a zany comedy, whatever. And it's really no, it's extremely messed up. From
Yeah.
the that is the character how he views his life. He thinks he's like a zany, whatever, Zuckerberg or Porky's like comedy, and really he's just a middle-aged dude hitting on a young, impressionable woman.
Mm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I've never wanted a character to lose so bad.
Oh yeah, oh my god, yeah,
Yeah.
he's just such a piece of crap.
Yeah, I was like, please don't let this dude have a happy ending. Like, please, I'm begging this movie. But yeah, so yeah, it'll be interesting to watch that. He
Mm,
just coming off of a fresh Best Picture win, Best Director win. So hey, shout out to him. Uh, so yeah, do that Monday. Hopefully, I can watch all of Andor season 2 by Monday. There, do a
good
review
luck
for
with that,
that.
buddy.
Yeah, I'm trying to cram as much as I can there. I get distracted because I'm watching King of the Hill. I've been binging King of the Hill. So I've been, watching episodes of that because I know the revival's coming out. Rest in peace to Jonathan Ross. I think his name is John Redcorn. So rest in peace to that voice actor and that actor. So yeah, I've been doing that. And maybe do a retro review of it. I'll probably do a retro review of King of the Hill before the revival comes out. Just
Have
talk
you
about it.
seen King of the Hill?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So have I.
Yeah, so I've seen it. It's funny. I like it.
God, all the actors are dying. They're dropping like flies.
Yeah, Tom Petty, Brittany Murphy,
Yeah,
the actor who played Dale, he passed away while
yeah, he
filming.
did. A year or two just before this was announced. They were like, "All right, we're gonna announce it," and then he Dale dies. I'm like, "No, you can't." Like,
Yeah.
you've lost Luann, you've lost Lucky, you've lost Dale. Like, you've lost half the cast. Come on, man. And then they went ahead and did it, and now they lost John Redcorn.
Yeah. Which they got a good person to replace Dale. It's like you look at that, like that actor who they got to
Oh
do.
yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, he can do a good Dale. Like he
yeah.
can do good.
He could do a good Dale. Yeah, they were able to do that. I don't remember. Did they place Luann or Lucky? Or are they just leaving them out of it?
I think they're just leaving him. I haven't heard they're gonna replace.
Honestly, that's for the best.
Yeah.
Just Luann and Lucky going off and living their own lives with their kids is fine enough. I actually think it's good. They
Yeah.
got their happy ending.
Yeah. Good old Luann. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm on the episode where she was doing the Manger Babies. I'm on that episode.
Oh yeah, the Manger Baby,
Yeah. So
the puppet Manger Babies. She had a whole host of different careers. She did the Manger Babies for the local television shows, and then she went to college. Then she dropped out of college and went to beauty school, and then became a hair salonist.
I
And
forgot what they
then
call that.
there's
Esthetician.
a specific name for it. There's a genuinely specific name. You go to a college for beauty.
Yeah.
salon to get the license. And then she did that for a while. And then Peggy always felt bad that she didn't fulfill her potential with college, but Luann never wanted college anyway. She just wanted to do something she liked.
Yeah.
She's a Luann. That's actually what I really like about Luann is not a stupid girl. She's very naive, but she's not unintelligent.
Mm.
She
Yeah.
has she has she just doesn't have the ambitions that or the want of ambitions that like someone like Peggy thinks she should. Like she's like, I'm happy doing the things that I like doing, and I like to be a hair stylist. I like making people pretty. I'm very feminine, like these things. And there's something that I wouldn't have been able to do. And honestly, it's actually kind of refreshing seeing that. It's a rarity that you get a character like that who goes through all those different changes, but stays consistent in her character, but just evolves. And then she met Lucky, and Lucky's a really cool dude.
Yeah. I mean, the age gap is kind of crazy, but
The age gap is crazy, but she
uh,
can't like. I'm gonna be honest. Luann needed a guy that was mature enough to be just kind of pretty chill.
yeah.
Like, because
Uh,
Lucky it is a wild age gap, but what Peggy does to Lucky is like it's so underhanded. She purposely like screws up his GED teaching so he doesn't get the GED.
yeah. Now, Lucky is he's kind of stupid. I mean, like,
No, Lucky is, but he was gonna pass it if she didn't purposely teach him wrong,
yeah,
and then they just undercut it.
yeah,
And he marries her. He gets her like they have kids anyways, and he marries her anyways. Like he loves her to death, and she loves him.
yeah. So
Like,
yeah, that's true.
yeah, age gap wise, like Lucky loves her to death. Like he died for her.
Yeah. So yeah, he does. I mean, he does really. I mean, out of all the boyfriends she's had, he's the best one by far.
Oh,
And,
by far, by
yeah,
far. Like Lucky has a sense of honor, even when he does like shady stuff. It always has a limit, and there's always like a unspoken level of a nah. We do it to a certain level, man. We don't do it any more than that.
yeah. Uh,
My favorite episode was the Bobby one where he gets him the potato chip fresh off the line.
oh, I forgot that. I haven't. Oh, I'll get to that one. I forgot that.
That's a great episode. I love that. Bobby's reaction is perfect. He's like, "Oh my god." Hmm.
Yeah. What do you think about him being a chef? So he's gonna be a chef. Chef.
Uh, that makes perfect sense based on the finale. Bobby's always liked food from the very early
I
seasons.
mean,
He's
we can
always
all tell.
liked food. I mean, he's always liked a bunch of stuff. Uh, by the finale of the TV series, he was a connoisseur of marbling steak, of looking at beef and seeing the marbleization and seeing when calf is good and not. That could that was something he and his father could finally really bond over was cooking steak and cooking. Makes perfect sense to me out of all the things that he could have gone down, which is the many facets he could have gone down. He became a chef, which is funny because if he was the possible reincarnation of the next Dalai Lama, that is ironic that he is a carnivore and loves steak.
Mm, yeah.
But hey, it's as long as he has the good and kind heart and he follows the path of the eightfold path, who's to say?
Yeah, I love that episode. Yeah, the Dalai
Oh yeah,
Lama.
it's a great episode. All of it's great. Even if he and Connie never quite like worked out or uh stuff like that.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I mean, maybe they do get back
I
together.
who knows? I did unfortunately I saw on the title screen that like apparently Dale after finally going through seasons, Dale and his wife finally she stops cheating on him with John Redcorn and actually focuses on Dale. It's like in the opening credits, it just shows like her moving with John Redcorn or something.
Yeah, she's like she jumps in the car with him. So people are like, wait, is she back with John Wilcorn
Yeah,
now?
what
So
the fuck is up with that?
yeah.
You went
Uh
through all those seasons and you're just gonna yeah, she's
yeah,
just in the car with John Redcorn.
yeah, let me slow it down here.
Now it's possible. It's possible
Shit.
that
Okay.
it's all like this is like this is going through over the original seasons, including in this title. You know what I mean?
Because people talking about like Min and Khan are like arguing, so maybe they break up. People talking about that.
They always
Uh
argued anyways.
yeah. So here you go. Yeah, John Redcorn. So she's putting on her earrings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopping in the car. Yeah. So you got that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And them this is them leaving for Saudi Arabia.
I guess.
Yeah.
I like
Mm,
Joseph's funny. That, but yeah,
yeah.
it's
I,
just all in the corner. Boomhauer eventually got a wife and kid or something. Dale ran for mayor.
yeah.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Because yeah, people. I think people say, well, that's kind of a jab at people. It's like, who would Dale vote for? Would he vote for Democrat,
No,
Republican?
Dale will vote for himself.
Yeah, I mean, so people probably it's like that's a good knock. And this is the family, yeah.
Yeah,
Which I think that character was in a season before, right?
she was, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And this is also you see the mask, so it
Yeah,
is
this is during COVID.
COVID. You see that. Of course, Dale has his mask
Yeah, of
down.
course he does.
Yeah, and then you see him rip off the mask. So this
Yeah.
is after COVID, and then yeah, vote Ribble. I
As soon
want
as
that.
he's legally not required to do anything, of course he's ripping that off.
Yeah,
I love
which
he's just like standing there. That guy's just standing there the entire time. He's just by himself.
mm, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then he sells it back to them.
Yeah.
Back
Or
to Hank
somebody
and
was saying
Fergie.
like maybe they did like a worker exchange thing where they swap places. Like
That's you know what? That's entirely possible. That is entirely possible. They did a worker exchange program.
yeah,
Especially with how good Hank is at his job.
yeah.
Hank
So
is the top tier on propane and propane accessories.
yeah. So yeah, people were saying yeah because I didn't know this. Apparently, Saudi Arabia is like the number one leader in like propane.
Yes,
I didn't
Saudi
know.
Arabia is huge for it.
Yeah. So and then people were saying like, well, wouldn't that be a huge cultural shock to Hank? And somebody was like, no, they have these little company towns that basically replicate
Yeah,
suburban.
he'd be fine as long as he stays in the company town. Hank's the kind of guy. He's probably like, I'm good. I'm not really gonna leave.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go out to the city or
He maybe went out a couple of times when he had to. That would be interesting, like funny little
flat.
flashbacks
Yeah.
of the times that they did go out a couple of times. But honestly, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I think Hank would probably be chill with most of their culture,
Mm.
except he'd be mostly understanding of their culture. The only thing is when someone would say something to Peggy, or it like started being what he would perceive as disrespectful to his wife. But even in
Yeah.
but even in Saudi Arabia, that would be like that's very, very frowned upon. They would not openly disrespect your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. So, are you you like it dropping all at once or no? You want it to be
Uh they probably could have just dropped it a couple episodes per week, like
mm,
a three thing by week, give it a conversation and then continue it. But if it's just a old school, the original King of the Hill, where it was mostly procedural day to day, and it wasn't really there was only like a small linking of things that happened, but it didn't. It just had an overall narrative, but it was mostly episode to episode. That I'm not. It's not that big of a deal, but with the limited budget that they have, I guarantee you it's going to be more story based, more story heavy, more continuous.
mm, yeah. I can't wait though. I can't wait to come back see these characters again.
Yep.
Uh, but all right, Pete, I'm gonna send you over this rate. Thank you, Dust, for joining me,
Yeah, no
man.
problem.
Really, really good pleasure, man. Be back Monday. Hopefully, you can join me Friday, next Friday, man. Help review that 28 years later. All right,
28
people,
years.
take care. Stay
All right,
tuned.
man.